Chapter 1. Spencer Rust buttoned up the red, white, and blue plaid shirt, not necessarily trying to be patriotic, though he knew it would probably help. He checked his belt to make sure it sat in the right place, and he reached for his boots. These old things could stand to be replaced, but Spencer hated shopping with about as much intensity as the sun shone in Texas in June. The moment he stepped outside, he wondered why he lived here, and yet he'd never live anywhere else. Memories started to stream through his head, and Spencer pressed against them. It would do no good to hash up the past, even if he was willingly stepping into that past this afternoon. "She's not going to be there," he told himself. Sweetwater Falls wasn't a huge town, though it did bring in people from several little towns around it. All the shopping was in Sweetwater Falls, with ranches, farms, and other communities spreading out from it like spokes on a wheel, at least until the beach took over on the south and southeast. Spencer loved Sweetwater Falls. He loved his job at Hope Eternal Ranch. He really did, honestly and truly did. Something, however, seethed inside him, an animal that paced back and forth, demanding to be set free. He'd been at Hope Eternal for 13 years, and that was the longest Spencer had stayed anywhere. Even as a kid and then a teen, his life had been filled with constant turmoil. This new job in Cotton Creek could be the one. That boss in Shorttail just didn't understand. He boxed up the memories and shut the lid tightly. Tape went on the outside of the box, but Spencer knew it wouldn't last for long. He always thought about his family and his past in the summertime, when his mother had died. With his well-worn boots on, Spencer stood. He'd told exactly one person about his interview today, but he didn't expect to see Nathaniel Mulbury on his way out. A ranch in the summer, especially a commercial ranch like Hope Eternal, where tourists came to visit, buy honey, watch live horse care demonstrations, and even stay in cabins out on the river, was extremely busy. Nate had 2 kids now, and when school wasn't in session, he'd have both his boys with him, slowing him down, if Nate could even go slow, which Spencer wasn't sure about. He smiled to himself and left his bedroom. He shared the house where he lived with 4 other cowboys, which didn't bother him all that much. But at 37, Spencer was starting to wonder what it would be like to live on his own. He hadn't really done that in his life, though most of his memories only had himself or his parents in them. Sure, he'd had a few girlfriends over the years, but Spencer, well, he hadn't had much luck with women. His pulse rioted as he reached the front door, where he hung the nicer of his 2 hats. The other one always waited by the back door, as that was the exit he used to go to work on the ranch. If he was going to church or town, he used the front door, and thus wore his nicer cowboy hat. Out on the porch, in the shade, the Texas heat didn't hit him square in the face. No, that heat penetrated his lungs on the first breath, and Spencer dang near choked on the humidity. His body remembered how to behave in the heat quickly, and he was fine by the time he reached the sidewalk at the bottom of the steps. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Spencer didn't expect to run into anyone leaving the ranch. He'd be lying if he said he hadn't planned it that way, so he didn't even think that. "It's time," he told himself. "This is the right thing to do." While he wasn't entirely sure of that, he got behind the wheel of the truck and left Hope Eternal Ranch in his rearview mirror. "It's not the last time," he said, keeping up the stream of talking to himself. He'd been doing that since his mama's death, too, and old habits sure did die hard around these parts of Texas. The highway leading north and then west took him to Sweetwater Falls Farm, and it only took 15 minutes from one ranch to the other. They weren't the same at all, though Spencer's job wouldn't be too terribly different, at least on paper.